Thanks very much, Christina. All right, I'm here today to tell you about our Oracle Ridge project in Arizona, where we are targeting green copper production. It's a Tier 1 jurisdiction, Arizona. Now, when I say green copper production, obviously lots of people are talking about, well, copper, we need that for decarbonisation, but we're focusing on mining copper in a very low emission process. So quite different. Obviously, we're going to need copper, but low emissions. Important disclaimers. So our Oracle Ridge project in Arizona, it's got an existing resource which has been recently increased by just under 40%, and it's growing. That's our aim. We want to build up a critical mass of resource to underpin our resources. This project was last mined in the mid-90s at a pretty modest sort of rate, sort of about 200,000 tonnes. We want to be mining at an order of magnitude greater than that. But in order to do that, we need to build our resources, and that's what we're currently really focusing on as we speak. And we've been getting some great results. We're currently refurbishing the existing underground mine where there's 18 kilometres of development to drill from underground. This will be an absolute game changer because the drill lengths are far, far shorter to build up our indicated and measured resources. As I said, 18 kilometres of existing underground development. This project had its key permits granted back in 2012 to 2015, and we will need to update those key permits. Drilling's ongoing, got $16 million in cash at the end of the last quarter. It was just a bit more than that, but just under 17. Charlie Bass is on our board, very highly regarded, very well known in the mining industry for his great successes, has that ability to pick and manage great companies and build them up. And we're very, very well leveraged to rising copper prices due to our tonnes and grade curve, which I'll explain. So our current resource sits at 17 million tonnes at just under 1.5% copper, 17 grams per tonne silver, and 0.17 grams per tonne gold. Some of the recent drilling results outside that resource, just over a week ago, we put out 55 metres at 2.16% copper and 0.5 gram per tonne gold. So that's a cracking intercept. It was down from a couple of 100 metres, but we're located on a hill, so it's effectively at sort of ground level, and I'll explain why in a moment. There's another great result outside the resource, 30 metres at 2.5% copper. So absolutely incredible. I feel for the previous presenters who say when you get these great drill hits, and sometimes you go down in price, but c'est la vie, we move on. But these are absolutely superb hits, and we're very excited by the results that we've been getting. We're doing our preparations for underground drilling, and with these latest results, we've brought forward the timing of our next JORC update. We were previously going to do it in Q4. We've brought that forward to Q3, and it's going to have double the number of holes we're planning on than our last update, which increased us by just under 40%. So we're located in Arizona in the Laramide Arc. Now, the Laramide Arc is a belt that runs from down in New Mexico, down south here, all the way up in through to Nevada, and that's got these major projects. Now, we've got the same formations, the same Laramide age rocks as a lot of these other major projects. Charlie Bass started working at the Freeport Mission Twin Buttes down south here, and they start mining these skarns. We've got a skarn resource like many of these other projects. Then they go on and they find the big system. We've got a great skarn resource there. It's quite sizable, and no one's been looking for that big system that we know of. So whilst there's a big feeder there somewhere, we're trying to work out where that could possibly be. Right now, we're focused on building out our skarn resources, which are already quite sizable, and we're getting some great results. Arizona has all the mining services that you'd expect. On the Fraser Institute, it's ranked number 2. Western Australia's number 4. So, it's certainly a great place to be doing business if you want safe jurisdictions with big projects. Here's an elongated view of the mine. Excuse the fonts have gone to something, but we're drilling up there with 2 rigs at the moment. You can see there's 2 portals that sit here. The tailings dam is down in the foreground down there, and you can see nice road access getting up as well. When I said low emission mining, the reason is we're located on top of a hill. We've got 2 portals that go into the side of the hill, and then the development goes up from there. So quite a unique situation. But why is that so good? This is good because that means it's really ideal for battery electric equipment. The battery trucks can't go up long decline haulages as it currently stands. The energy density in those trucks, it just doesn't work just yet. But if you're driving trucks on the flat, they work really nicely. And that's what they were designed for. You know, projects like Kidd Creek in Canada. But if you actually got loaded trucks going downhill, they generate more power than what it takes to go up. Now, one of your biggest costs and emissions on a mine is both from your equipment. So if you can get rid of your diesel equipment, that's a huge benefit. But then also your ventilation is vastly improved if you don't need to be generating as much diesel emissions underground. So this is a great benefit and will be a really key focus for us moving into our feasibility studies. We're very focused on being part of the local community. There were some fires around our project and the fire departments did an absolutely superb job. These guys are absolute heroes in our minds. I'm very proud that we could play a small part in trying to help out the local community with fighting some of these recent fires. We support them and along with a number of other local groups in the area. With copper prices, you know, where they are and even where they're forecast to go by many analysts, I think we're in a great position. At a 1% copper cutoff, so not a copper equivalent, it's just straight copper cutoff, which is what we reported our last resource at, 250,000 tonnes of copper in resource. But if we change the cutoff grade from 1% down to 0.8, there's a 53% increase in the tonnes, 32% increase in the contained copper. So that's quite significant. There's a halo around the existing resource of some slightly lower grade mineralisation. So as copper prices change, this is a this is a great benefit and provides a lot of optionality at higher copper prices. We've expanded the resource, we're getting results, and it's growing. So this orange section through there, that's the existing resource. You can see this is the development that comes in. There's a portal here, there's a portal there. There's the declines come in, declines are more like inclines coming in there. I just used to always saying declines. And then it goes down here. We're getting a lot of the results in this southern area. Now this grey line through there is the extent of a mag anomaly. We get a lot of magnetite, and come by the booth you can see some great magnetite that we get, and it's been a great signature and tool for finding more mineralisation. So it's been, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's been a really good tool for us. And you can see there's plenty of grey area in through here, plenty of area. We've just really got to get more holes into it, and we've had a great strike rate from our drilling. You know, 80–90% of our holes outside the resource have been hitting mineralisation. It's been absolutely superb. There's one of the drill rigs. Yes, the terrain can be certainly a bit steep, and we've put the roads in, but that's been done. We've spent a bit of money to get those roads and those pads in the right location, and that's been set up for us now. So we're in and we're drilling. We've got the third rig's planned, or the underground rig is planning to get in Q3 this year, once the underground's up and going. So some of these drill results, apologies, it is a little bit hard to see, but I'll read you some of the numbers that we've had out there. 63 metres at 1.8, 38 metres at 2%, 20 metres at 2, 53 at 2.6, 21 at 3.2. And then we do get these nice higher grade zones because a lot of the mineralisation is chalcocite, chalcopyrite and bornite. So you do get some nice zones going up in the 10 and 15% copper as well, which we put out in our last announcement. So the recommissioning of the mine, we're so beneficial to have this in place. To put this development in place today would cost you in the order of about $100 million. So back in 2012, 2013, 2014, the previous operators did a drilling program from underground, and they put a lot of this infrastructure in place. So there's gensets, there's a lot of the infrastructure is already in place. So it's not gensets, we need to get a genset. There's a lot of the other electrical equipment is in there. So we're doing the geotech inspections. These photos were taken just 2 weeks ago when I was on site. And a lot of the resource, or a lot of the mineralisation goes through the resource. So you can see here, you know, it's oxidised on the surface, but behind that, much of our mineralisation is sulphides, which is great. And this is chalcopyrite that you can see being turned over in the middle. And on the right-hand side, there's chalcopyrite, and that blue is bornite. So bornite is a copper mineral. Those don't know, it sort of goes in the high 60% copper range. The development's in great condition. It's limestone, which is acid neutralising, so it means that the bolts haven't rusted and things have been generally preserved. So this development, whilst it was put in back in the mid-90s, this was taken just 2 weeks ago. You can see the surfaces are there, and a lot of it's mineralised, it is marbleised as well, because it's been heated up as the fluids have come through too. So the ground conditions are absolutely superb. This is a great asset for being able to restart our operations quite rapidly. So the key area we're focusing on at the moment, that's the existing resource, and you can see some of the results that we're getting down there. But like a lot of the other projects in Arizona, you get other mineralisation in the area. So we have been looking out and around, and we've discovered this yellow squiggly line down here, which is a lower contact of between an intrusion coming through, outcropping mineralisation for about 4 kilometres. So we're like, that is pretty interesting. So we flew the drone over with the mag on it, and there's a big mag anomaly dipping back in the mountain for about 3 kilometres. So this is a very high priority target for us. We require permits to drill on this particular piece of land. As soon as we get those permits, we'll be rolling a rig in there. We think this has the ability to be an absolute catalyst to changing our company, given what we see there. So I want to see a little bit, this is what a bit of it looks like. There is a bunch of old mines, there's like 6 of these little old workings through there, where they mined back in the 1940s, and they just took out the 10 to 15% copper sort of areas. But you can see it on the surface for a long way. So when it was mined back in the mid-90s at a granted pretty sort of modest rate, they produced a bulk copper, silver, gold concentrate, good recoveries, nice simple process, not trying to do split cons or anything like that. And there was no penalties as well. So the smelters like it, and they like the limestone in there as well. So that processing plant's gone, so we would need to put a new processing plant in. From a permitting basis, the operators or the incumbents back in 2012 to 15 got the key permits for being able to restart the mining. That was an aquifer protection permit, which is your approval for your tailings, and then an air quality permit. We still have the air quality permit. The permits will need to be updated because we're envisaging a much larger operation than what was previously contemplated, and we're working on what those requirements are right now. A development timeline, we're going to keep on drilling, keep on expanding, keep on upgrading the resource. We're starting off the met test work now, and then we will be moving into sort of more full-blown pre-fees later this year and early into next year as well. The next JORC update, like I said, is been brought forward through to Q3 this year. So that's our strategy, to build up that critical mass of mineralisation to support our feasibility studies. From a corporate perspective, tightly held, 260 million shares on issue still. Charlie Bass has around about 1/3 of that still. Most of the institutions are Sydney-based, market capitalisation of just $90 million at the moment. So why invest in us? What's the value proposition? We want to become a green producer of copper, and that copper will be used for decarbonisation. So it's a great story on that front. We've got great assets, we've got an underground mine with a great resource, and it's growing. So we're getting results, we've got 2 rigs, we're transitioning into underground, and we tick a lot of the elements from both an ESG, from a permitting perspective, and the ability to rapidly restart this project. We're located just over straight through on that backside over there, so come and see us at the booth. We've got some great rock samples, so the geos in the room there, you can see some of the great mineralisation, some of the bornite, some of the great chalcopyrite samples at the booth. Thanks very much for your time.
Tim Mason, thank you very much for your time. Now you can pop out the front there and take that last bit of the presentation and show those happy people downstairs if they can read what you've got at the front there about being green. Talking about being green, we're moving into clean base load power source for the future next. And again,